Rogue One a Star Wars story review by Red Letter Media, reviewed. It's surprising that I didn't watch this considering Red Letter Media's history with Star Wars and my fandom of them, but I guess my fandom of them has waned. And they have nothing to complain about with Star Wars. Apparently not so. They basically emphasize what I said in my first review of the films. The Ursos don't get into why we should care of them as a family. Like, they're they could be a bad family. They could treat each other terribly. So, why should we care about them getting separated? Also, Star Wars references. I like the Star Wars references. I felt but it does seem a little bit fan to me, like my brother said. Some of it was cool edits. As I said, even Brother Media suggested they hid the references. Just cut down the references. Just do what you need storyline wise. I didn't really like the tone either, even though I'm all for Dark Power Rangers incarnations, and they even did believe it was the worst attempt. Didn't believe it was the worst attempt. But that ending was very dark. Like the whole nuclear Donald Trump fear thing is obviously going on, and I felt that resonated with fans. I felt that the love story was rushed too, and I don't know, would I feel nitpicky about this if it wasn't Star Wars? Would I feel nitpicky about this if I just didn't care. I didn't feel like it was the worst thing ever. I agree with Felicity Jones. Felicity Jones has a history of being glamorized by the Oscar circuit, the big people who put her in all these Oscar roles. Oscar politics. She didn't really stand out in this film, and I think that's been a problem. I liked Elizabeth Olsen in like 2011. I think it was Felicity Jones who was competing with her on the circuit for that role, the Oscars, and I didn't really feel like Felicity Jones really stood out that much. They were probably biased. Other media showed this Star Wars footage of Daisy Ridley and compared it with Felicity Jones, and while probably biased, it did show that Daisy Ridley did emote very well. Red Media, on a side note, wanted a Mission Impossible Ocean's 11 type film, especially when they had all the CGI stuff going on. And Cassian even dresses up as a Empire member, but he doesn't really do much with it. Why did the Forrest Whitaker character die? Like, they could have used him later on the prequel episode and movie, and he would have been very helpful, especially for fighting, especially for the plot where they needed him to explain stuff. They felt that the use of Chinese characters was a little bit forced, but then again, I think Stoklasa, I forgot his name, Mike said, like, he felt Donnie Yen's character was good. They both agreed that a lot of the characters had to be cut out, and it just basically wasn't basic storytelling for them. Too much fan service. A lot of stuff in Star Wars was original compared to now. Now it's not for story. Now it's for fan service. Like, why put Star the story there? Why put any sort of thing there? Like, it was. I felt it was like a very good use of that. I felt like it did that better than. I felt it did fan service better than Star Wars Episode 7. Although they felt like Star Wars Episode 7 was a better Star Wars film. I disagree, but we shall see. I didn't even think that it wasn't even so much that Star Wars Episode 7 did all this fan service. It just didn't feel like it fit with the first two films. It did feel like it fit with the first two films, but it didn't feel like it was original like the first 2 or 3 films. Not much of this film is memorable, although I did do an interesting analysis of K2SO. I did feel like the characters had a little bit more on rewatching it, although the value of it wasn't worth watching it twice to figure it out, except for K2SO. And there was also a very interesting thing about the trailers and the reshoots. The trailers made it seem like Jyn Erso was going to be this really dark character. She's going to be like a lady that turned into a Sith Lord or something, and then that never happened. I don't remember what the reshoot footage was, but like, I wonder if they had reacted to the response to the Daisy Ridley character and made her the emphasis of it, and they might have done something like that. Basically, me just rambling for a few minutes about this thing. I wish it did more organized. There's just so much to absorb, so much to think about in terms of Star Wars, and I really like this film. I don't necessarily disagree with all this stuff, but it's interesting to think about. Like, I always consider myself like a future possible director or writer, and I'm wondering, doing all this fan fiction, especially, do I only do fan works or stuff? Can I actually do it as an artist? Also, I don't know. Like, they want a fun movie. It's interesting to talk about. They talked about it for an hour, and it got more views than even the Plinkett review of Rogue One. But I do agree that it wasn't the best film in the world. I definitely didn't give it the best film. I liked Coen Brothers film this year. I liked Jungle Book. I liked BFG. I liked some Asian films this year, like Jagat. It wasn't the best film of the year, but I felt like it was the right direction. Like, I think it was box office. Obviously, it did phenomenal. Story wise, it was creative. It took work. It wasn't. Even they admitted it wasn't an absolute fail. It just, even though they didn't say it, I think they felt that it didn't reach up to Star Wars expectations. It wasn't a Star Wars film to them. And even then, when they say Star Wars film, that's obviously they have a Star Wars bias or a Star Wars criticism of how a Star Wars film should be. And I felt like it executed a little bit more than that. Like, back to what I was saying about Episode 7. I'll make this short, try to make this short so I don't tense too much. Star Wars Episode 7, they had Sith Lords, they had Stormtroopers, they had Captain Toy, or whatever they said. They had all these references to other Star Wars stuff. It felt unique, but at the same time, it still threw back. It wasn't original like the original Star Wars films were, telling the original story. And I felt like, even though I had problems, like, overall it's still a positive experience for me, this film. I felt like it was a good time for it definitely had a good technology involved. A totally good story. It was like a side story. It wasn't like a main story, and I didn't think it was trying to outdo anything like they were assuming it was going to do. Although, like, some stuff I was worried about editing wise, like, did they ruin? But again, positive experience. I enjoyed it a lot. I feel like Star Wars is off to a good start with these first two films, unlike Marvel, which got off to a rocky start. So far, I felt like Star Wars is 2 of 2. Like, Marvel, which is like 2 of like 20 now at this point. So, good job, Star Wars. They also mentioned, talk about it later probably, but they mentioned that Star Wars couldn't, I'll talk about it later because I don't want to tangent too much, but I feel like Star Wars has done very well franchise-wise. They've recouped everything they did since the prequels. I felt like this was the best prequel they've ever made so far, as I mentioned before, and I feel like the franchise is in good hands, good direction, organized, a lot more organized than Marvel, which is all over the place. And I wish the best of luck to the Star Wars franchise.